Directing of the landscape of the Gilligan-verse that began with Breaking Bad, and being behind that camera. I've spoken to LeVar Burton about directing Star Trek and Jonathan Frakes and so on. After being on the show, what is it like being handed the director's reins, and what was that experience like for you in being able to direct the ensemble?
Nerve-wracking. You know, each and every day that we live our lives, for me, I'll say it for me, there's not a moment that I don't wonder if I'm really in my own truth. And then if I don't feel like I'm in my own truth, I gotta stop myself and ask myself to take a deep breath and figure out if I'm in my truth. It takes me to a Zoom call with Peter Gould, who I think is an absolute genius. He's a showrunner and writer and director from time to time with other directors as well on Better Call Saul. And there were 25 people on a Zoom call, and Peter asked me a question about a scene I was doing. Some of you may have seen it, I don't want to spoil it for others, but that was to take place in Germany, and that got pulled up in our schedule to be shot sooner than I had expected. In fact, we needed to shoot it while I was prepping for the whole episode. And so, on this Zoom call, Peter asked me a question, and how do you see doing that? And I immediately went, what? And then I stopped. And I went, wait a minute. It's Peter Gould, Gilligan was on the call, 25 production people, and I went, wait, don't just give them an answer because you feel like you have to. That's our world. Someone asks you a question, you're expected to know the answer. When do you ever take a beat and go, you know, I don't know? Like, it's all right to not know. Because in you saying you don't know, then you'll find the answer. We'll find it together. Let's investigate. It leads you to the next step, not to the means to the end. So I sat there and I went, so Peter, I don't know. I know what I don't want it to be. And then it opened me up to say, well, let's hear that. Well, I don't want it to be this and I don't want it to be this, but I'm not exactly sure how to make it this. And everyone on the Zoom call, when I said I don't know, I could feel the air through the iPad. Like, you gotta know as a director. That's why you're the director. You're supposed to know. And that's part of our world. But you know what? You're not. You're supposed to be a partner, a team player, a collaborator, and a visionary. And once you open up that conversation, you're able to have the vision or formulate it. Everyone thinks the vision must be mine because I'm the director, and that's where we get our ego involved. Right? I'm supposed to know it's my, oh no, wait, no, I don't want it done, no. Shush everybody in the room, take control of the chaos, and be the smarter person in the room. Well, guess what, guys? I'm not the smartest person in this room. And that's okay with me. I want to be around the smartest person in this room because they're going to help my vision come true. And so then you have a true feeling of what artistry really is. You connect with people who can really extend the idea of what your vision may be, and you connect and you allow them to be a part of that vision. That is a great director. I had a great time directing 606. It changes my life every time I direct. I get to the set, people don't recognize me because I'm in like some sweats and I have bedhead. I don't care what I look like. All I care about is the vision that's in my head, whatever may be there, and also what's not there, about how I see we should shoot this. And I walk on the set and people just ignore me and then they go, oh, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? Well, I'm directing. Oh, that's right. You know, I'm walking around in the woods when we had the stuff to do in Germany. It worked out really well. I'm really excited. And the best thing about all of it was that we all found it together. I had definitive ideas. When I didn't, I enlist help. And I got great compliments from Vince Gilligan and from Peter on the job I did. So it feels good to do that.
I can't wait for it to stick the landing. Your co-star on Better Call Saul, Mr. Bob Odenkirk, has spoken recently about the intention behind the choices that he is making in his career, the things he chooses to do, that he acts in, that he wants to produce, that he wants to direct. It was announced a couple months back that you're working on a remake of the BBC miniseries The Driver. What was it about this material that spoke to you that made you want to usher this into existence?
I love the original by Danny Brocklehurst, who is from Manchester, England. And the concept behind it is there's a gentleman who can't really support his family. He's going bankrupt. I've been bankrupt twice, not only once, but twice. He's on the verge of losing his family. I have been in that position as well. I was divorced with 4 children and felt like I lost my family, didn't realize that in that loss of my family, I gained a completely new relationship, not only with my former wife, but also with all of my children. And now we're closer than I think we would have ever gotten if we had stayed together, oddly enough. So this gentleman in the original series is faced with that. The reason I wanted to do this show is because the perception of what I do, and I assume sometimes, a little while ago I was at my table, a guy came up with a little figure of me, there was an orange sticker on it that said $22.95, and it bothered me, so while I'm talking to him, I start to peel the sticker off before I sign the figure. And he says, no, leave that on there. And I went, I'm sorry, excuse me. I assumed, I'm so sorry I assumed. But see, the sticker bothered me. It didn't bother him. And it was his pop figure of me. And I had to, my initial was to peel it, but then after that, I wanted to go, why would you want that on there? Right? So, I didn't do that. I went, wait a minute, don't judge or assume anything. And don't even ask him why he would want that on there, right? So here we are in a world where it's all about what I want. And so I also feel that there's an assumption about me and people who are in our industry, people in this room who go, oh, I didn't know. I went bankrupt twice, struggled to make a living, to take care of my family. This is the story of Vince in The Driver. I wanted to tell the story of an everyman. Pandemic hit, I went and hunkered down in a house that I got that the universe blessed me with. I had been staying in hotels for 5 years. Once in a while when I went to my ex-wife's house and my kid's house, I would take whatever bed or sleep in the basement, right? Dragging a suitcase, and somehow I had a house. When that happened, I started to think a deep meditation about people who don't have the life I have. Not to say that their lives are bad. I made 2 phone calls when pandemic hit. I called my accountant and I said, how long can I last? And he said, You know, accountants, they never speak real English. No knock on accountants.
They speak in guttural.
Guttural. You know, you'll be all right. You got a little bit. And then I called my manager to say, what am I going to do? And then I sat down and prayed and meditated, and I realized every billionaire, millionaire, if you want to equate it to money, or creative artist who's come from behind, has built during a recession. Recession happens, you buy. You don't settle back and hold on to your pile. You go out and invest, because you're going to come out of recession, and if you make the wise choice in what you invest in, you're going to have great remuneration. So I thought, no, you start creating. I started growing a garden. I started to write a podcast. I wound up doing The Broken and the Bad, which my youngest daughter shot. I did guerrilled it in Albuquerque. I did things. I started to work on a book. I started to look for projects that I could option, that I could make into a movie. And all that's coming to fruition now. The Driver was one that I forwarded during that period of time. I wanted to tell the story of someone, the every man and every woman, who I went down in the downturn of 2008, and then I guess again in 2011. One was under Obama, right, when everything was gonna, get better, and I was a supporter of him, but nothing got really better. It got worse before it got better. And so, and that's no slam on the politics of Obama, or even Republicans or Democrats. It is just that you do better when you envision your future for yourself, and you create and get ahead of the curve and see the signs about what is going to happen. And so the every man and every woman story to me is important, because so many people out in the world are not able to make ends meet. They're not able to put food on the table. They're not able to be. You're privileged, each and every one of you in this room, to afford to come to this Comic-Con. That means y'all got a little dough. That means you all are privileged to come here and play for the weekend. There's so many people in our world that can't come and play like we play in a Comic-Con environment. And for me, I come here because I like to be at play. I like to see people have fun. I like to see people dress up. I like to answer people's questions. I like to show people who I really am. And so whether you realize it or not just to see your favorite stars and get your autographs, it's about seeing Cobra Kai, seeing Mandalorian, seeing people who are just like you dress up, be out of their own, sometimes mundane existence, sometimes they can only get free of what they have inside of them that holds them back to towing the line every day. They can come here and you see a new personality in your friends or your children because they're at play. And there's something about being young and youthful that allows you to be unjaded. Well, isn't that what we all want to get to? So that we can say, appropriately so, what we want to say, but we can be in our truth and not say what people want to hear all the time. But we can say, we can be funny, we can be sad, we can be in tears, we can be in joy. That's what our world should be. But when we walk out of these four walls, it's not that way. Because all of a sudden, we, in our own brains, assume or feel like, oh, someone's going to think I'm really stupid. Someone's going to judge me. I can't do that here. I can't say that here. I can't. Right. It's the same thing that goes along with the theys in our lives. There is no they. That they is the demon inside you that says you can't move forward, you can't be successful. Well, guess what? You can be. You can live a wonderful life. My show, The Driver, is about a guy faced with unusual circumstances that he has to overcome, and he has to get back to his own truth and his own morality about his life.
Beautiful. I've got two more for you.